Henry, good morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be with my friends at Hire Immigrants Ottawa this morning. It's so exciting to see this recognition of the terrific work that these employers are doing. Several of you whom I know, so I'm really doubly thrilled to be with you this morning. So yeah, let's take an opportunity to actually unpack some of the things that you are doing in your organizations, the good practices. We're very pleased to be joined for our panel by our three award-winning panelists this morning. Joining us from DistillerSR Inc. is Senior HR Specialist, of course, Tylin Pitchie. Giatec's Jehan Jamaluddin is with us. She's the Talent Acquisition Specialist. And from Welch, Jessica Zhang Chapman, who's a Senior Manager. I'm going to start off with each of you, just inviting you to very briefly introduce yourselves, if you would. Just take 1 minute. And I'm going to start with you, Tylin.
Yeah, again, I'm Tylin, the Senior HR Specialist at DistillerSR. We are located in Canada in the tech area, and I've been a part of the HR team since 2020, joined near the start of the pandemic. So I oversee HR programs and services, and ultimately I really do enjoy integrating, welcoming, and seeing employees succeed in various areas. Yeah, I'm super excited to be recognized for this award with our team, and I'm looking forward to the discussion today.
Thanks, Tylin. Good morning to you. And Jehan, over to you next.
There you go. Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. I'm Jehan Jamaluddin. I'm the Talent Acquisition Specialist with Giatec Scientific Inc. I joined Giatec a year ago, and at Giatec, I look after end-to-end recruitment for all experienced hires at Giatec, and super excited and honored to be given the Employee Awards again by HIO, and looking forward to share our practices and learn from everyone today.
Thank you, Jehan. Good morning. And Jessica, over to you.
Thank you, Kelly. So it's a long story. I remember the first time I attended a HIO event was at the United Way, and Kelly was one of the very first HIO members that I met. So that was pre-pandemic in early 2020. So it has been a very interesting and rewarding journey for Welch, and I'm sure, for the EDI practices in our community. I feel like I'm in a very interesting profile because the previous two representatives for the recipients, they are HR specialists. I'm not. I'm a CPA, I'm an accountant, I'm a tax professional. So at Welch, we're really having this EDI, Immigrants Focused Program, cheered and championed by staff. So we have our HR practice as our co-leader for the committee, but they're really empowering employees to lead this program. So it's not just about immigrants, it's the diverse profiled employees at Welch, which I would say represents probably 85% or higher, because every one of us has our unique, right, a diverse aspects into it. So I'm very proud, to represent Welch here, and our program is truly led and driven by our staff.
Awesome, Jessica, and I look forward to hearing more about all of these sorts of initiatives from the three of you. So I'm going to pose the next question to all of the panelists. We know, and we know this over at Erin as well, how intense the competition is for talent right now. It's still a very tight labor market. Can you talk to us a little bit about the strategies that you are using to reach a diverse pool of applicants, including, of course, newcomers and immigrants? And Jehan, I'm going to start with you with this question.
Sure, thanks, Kelly. You cannot be any more right than saying that it's very much very competitive out there. So at Giatec, we're a company founded by immigrants. Our two co-founders were immigrants from Iran. They came to Canada to study, and so we know the strength of having a diverse pool of workforce. In terms of strategy at Giatec, we collaborate with different agencies. I think some of the agencies were informed earlier. Agencies like Invest Ottawa, we work closely with them. World Skills, HIO, as well as Talent Lift, and an organization that help and support talent from the refugee pool of talent. So that's one of the strategies that we do with these agencies. Apart from participating in their career fairs, we also work with these agencies to sort of tap into their the newcomers or immigrants talent to have, we work with WorldSkills, for example, to have an intimate mini career fair internally at Giatec. So, creative ways of tapping into that newcomer and immigrant talent. Also, we have an awesome referral program. Our employees are, very balanced in terms of Canadians and newcomers as well. And they themselves would have a connection and networks to all these diverse pool of talents from newcomers. So pretty much those, yeah.
Thank you, Giatec, for sharing that, and we'll unpack some of these a little bit more as we go through. Jessica, do you want to tackle this next?
For sure. So I have been teaching a program which is for internationally trained accounting finance professionals for 80 years. It was a long time. So that was the start of Welch getting access to a pool of talented internationally trained accounting finance professionals. I can on the journey of my very busy agenda, because we see this as a huge way to connect with immigrants, newcomers who are very new to Canada, and they have the very deep professional experience in the related field. So as Welch has lessened our restrictions on having Canadian CPA firms experience, we're starting to get more immigrants as our hires. And as a traditional CPA firm, right, we're conservative accountants. So the baby step took a long time, and it was really baby steps. But after we tested out a few newcomers, the partners, managers, they have great experience working with newcomers, immigrants. So over the last a year to two, so now that we have a solid immigrants, newcomer base, internal referral becoming a bigger source, a major source for more and more newcomers coming to us. And as our profile is getting more diverse, it's becoming more attractive to immigrants, newcomers to join this organization. So like, every baby, like every organization, we started with very small steps, and we're, continue our growth path. And in addition to the direct recruitment related activities, also well connected with WorldSkills, Hire, One Hub. So it's not just, about the HR practices. We're connecting with immigrants, helping them doing tax workshops, accounting workshops. We do a lot of bring businesses from outside Canada into Canada. So there are supplementary activities to allow us to open our access to, a wider pool of immigrants or newcomers coming to Canada, do business with Canada and working for Welch.
Thank you, Jessica. And over to you, Tylin.
Yeah, so we know the importance of hiring from various sources. So we really value our local relationships with WorldSkills Ottawa, Invest Ottawa, but also as well the local universities and colleges, just to provide students with that experience. So yeah, we've valued our co-op students, and we've been able to have co-op students be hired as new grad. I believe 2 to 3 of them have started in the last year. So that's really rewarding to see those employees return. So we do post jobs on the WorldSkills Ottawa job board. And I think we just value this relationship because it's rewarding to provide those newcomers with opportunities. So we ensure that they're screened at the minimum. And from there, we move them to a technical interview, one for the experience of that interview, but also to help create that equal opportunity. And this is just our belief to creating equal opportunity. And from there, we do want to maintain our community relationships. So we're always looking to explore other relationships in the community and beyond to diversify our talent. And then, as both Jessica and Jahan mentioned, is the referral program. We've had success with this over the last couple of years. Our people are our greatest assets, and they know people. So it's really great to be able to have this referral program and have our internal employees be able to recommend other employees in the community that can join our team.
Thank you, Thailand. And some of you have already sort of touched on this, but as we talk about how the work that you're doing in terms of recruiting and hiring newcomers, I now ask you a little bit about, beyond just sort of meeting immediate talent needs, how do you find that doing that has actually benefited your organization? And Thailand, I'll maybe follow up with you on that question. How has hiring immigrants helped your organization?
For sure. I think we see the benefit daily. I think it's almost just seeing the value between conversations with immigrant employees as well. The gratefulness they have to be working on our team. These conversations could be from just checkpoints with HR or conversations from their managers. I find that, like, specific examples, like last year, we hired an individual from Ukraine, and just the circumstances that they have come from, and seeing them really be happy and enjoy the role and the company and be passionate about their role. While they're a quieter employee, they go out of their way to reach out and discuss how things are going. So I think that's part of it, just feeling that we've made an impact. But I also think while they're here, it's about how can we create that sense of belonging while they're on the team, and then also how we support them.
Thank you, Thailand. Jessica, how has, and again, you touched on this a little bit, but how has employing immigrants helped at Welch?
For sure, from many perspectives. Practically speaking, CPA accounting firms were experiencing labor shortage, skilled worker labor shortage, and the entrance requirements entering into the public accounting is higher than, just being an accountant working for an organization. So going forward basis, looking at the university registration rates for the accounting program, we see a 30% drop over the historical, registration rates in accounting program. So having immigrants join the organization is a must. And so basically, we have no choice but to welcome, immigrants joining us. So those are the mandatory requirements that we have to do it. But on the positive side, we see so many great things about immigrants, Tallinn has mentioned the great work ethics and just the proud that they're bringing into the organization. I met, one of our colleagues from the Toronto office, and she landed in Canada in just 2 months. And she said that I'm so proud, to join Welch. And I see when I'm walking on the streets and people are looking at me, for immigrants joining a prestigious employer in short period of time. In my time, because I'm an immigrant myself, that was unthinkable. But nowadays, the workplaces, HR practice has changed so much that we lessened the requirements, having Canadian experience, etc. And the immigrants, they're truly appreciative and they're so proud to join an organization. And then the other major components for us being, in public accounting is that we work with a variety of clients. And we're seeing more and more businesses coming overseas to establish their Canadian subsidiaries, doing businesses with Canadians. Speaking of the language requirements, we have Welch staff speaking over 20 different languages. I have clients needing to speak Spanish, needing to speak French, Chinese language. I'm able to bring my colleagues speaking different languages into the initial meetings, which is a huge boost on, establish the relationship and understanding their cultural practices. So our diverse, employee pool, mostly made of immigrants, has been a huge asset to Welch. And businesses outside Canada, when they see our profile as a diverse accounting firm, they're even happier to work with us because we understand, the challenges being a new business in a country that they don't know everyone, how to make sure that they're well served and how to make sure that we help them to build this reliable relationship. So for us, over the last 3 years or so, we're starting to see the benefits. We're starting to see a lot of positives having immigrants employees at our workplace.
Thank you, Jessica. And Jahan, how has this boosted your own organization?
For sure, Kelly, thank you. I echo Tylene and Jessica's point about having a diverse pool of workforce, beautiful marriage between Canadians and newcomers and immigrants. It gives a sense of Giatec being a company that has a global workforce. Every month we have a company town hall, and it's beautiful to see folks from different time zones, and even though somebody would be like 13 hours or 14 hours different, and yet they're there. So, and just seeing them talking about different things that's happening all over the world. So that's one, a global workforce perspective. Also, is something that we see when we have different diverse workforce. One of our core values is creative. And so we're in the business of coming up with products and solutions. So when we have workforce from different culture, different background, it only adds that creativity, and everything that we do when they look at our smart rock product, for example, it's always enhancing. And so not just something that is just here, but also, a different perspective globally, right? And the third benefit, there's a lot of benefit, but just in the interest of time, because I can really talk, I can take the whole 1 hour. So, and when we have diverse background as well, it gives us good networks and connections, because, Giatec wants to penetrate different markets globally. And so through our employees and connections, it makes it easier to just go and penetrate different markets and continents. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jahan. I'm going to ask Jessica now a particular question related to onboarding at Welch. And you've talked a little bit about the removal of the Canadian experience requirements from the recruitment process, and that's really important and key, and I know a big step forward for you. But can you talk to me a little bit about how you've looked at enhancing the onboarding process with the addition of the new hire committee?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you for the question, Kelly. So as a CPA firm, as I mentioned, the entry requirement to be able to have the proper skills, knowing the different accounting software to do the work is already high. So at Welch, we already have a very strong, well-established training program for all the new hires. So every year, the first week in September and the first week in January, it's like an all-day training for the whole week for our new hires. So we prepare every single new hire with the proper technology skills, accounting skills to be able to do their first accounting file. We also have had the buddy system for a long time. The buddy system is really, you assign a more senior member on the same team and to do on-job training for ongoing basis. So we already take pride in our, strong onboarding training program. So what we have done for newcomers is that we have our little committee called a new hire newcomer committee. So this is more to provide the newcomers with emotional support, anything that you don't really want to talk to your manager about just because you don't know how to enter your timesheets. So our work environment is a little unique because even with me, every 0.25 hours, I got to charge to somewhere. So every staff members, managers, partners, we're all super conscious about how to spend our work hours. And our newcomer committee is really to support during the transitional process, the first 90 days. So it's normal that if you don't know, you traveled to your client and you got stuck in the traffic, you spent extra 45 minutes. Where are you going to charge your time? So it's more about, non-technical, non-client specific questions. And they wouldn't feel bad about bothering their manager, bothering their partner, the little things. And also as a effective, hopefully, effective tool for our newcomers to do good the first 90 days, because we have a first 90-day informal evaluation. So that's a probationary period. So we're hoping, everybody has a smooth transition and entering into a Welch. Because one of the challenges, again, because of our unique, right, work content, one of the challenges was like newcomers seem to be quite weak on the taxation aspect, for example, in the past. And that has been, a reason that Welch was a little bit hesitant hiring immigrants in the past. But as over the time, we're improving the success rates for immigrants, and it's becoming a showcase to the partners that immigrants like myself and like many of my colleagues, we can equally do a good job. So that is, our little committee, in addition to the already, strong training program, onboarding program for our new hires at Welch.
Thank you, Jessica. Jahan, we're going to take a slightly different tack with you, and we're looking to, and you referred to this earlier, to refer back to what you're doing in terms of recruiting and, particularly your hiring practices. So one example that I know that you've implemented is a job shadow program. So can you talk to us a little bit about some of the barriers that you've been removing and also that job shadow program?
Sure. Yeah. Hiring is super important, right, Kelly? Because even though if they're not successful, at least they're actually your brand ambassador as well, that you can actually, rely on them to actually to talk about open positions at your company, or at least experience of being a candidate, right? As you go into hiring. One of the things that we do is at the start, when we want to post our open position, we use a tool online that you can find where at the job description itself, it's a gender bias analytic tool to ensure that when we put out our job description, it eliminates that biasness as much as we can. So that's one of that. And then we do and it's all other practices by different companies as well. We not only look at Canadian experience, but also we take into account, we look at a profile in a totality, meaning we look at their experience even though they're not in Canada as well. So it's that conversation that you have. It's not a matter of just because, oh, you're a newcomer, you just landed, you have no experience in Canada, we will not shortlist you. It's always a fun thing to just look at a profile in totality, right? It's a rich profile and experience that they have. So and the next one is we do, in terms of our recruitment process, interviewing process, we look at the responsibility of the job, and then we look at what the candidate brings. We have panel interviewers to ensure there's no gender biasness or biasness in terms of experience. And looking at just the job shadow component, it has become quite popular. We started the job shadowing method, if I can put it that way, with our sales team recruitment. It's very important to us, Kelly, that fit is very important, right? It's no longer a matter of just a company assessing a talent. It's both ways. The talent also assess the company. And so that job shadow, we invite, whether it's on site at our company or virtually, for them to spend about 2.5 hours with us and shadow some of the folks that's already working at Giatec, and really have candid session as ad hoc candid conversation with the team members. It's something like we say, when you go to buy a car. So this is the part when they go and look under the hood and see, yes, Giatec is that car that I want to buy. So there's that fit both ways.
Awesome. And I love that reminder that in this tight labor market, it's not just candidates promoting themselves to us, it's us promoting ourselves to those candidates. So thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
Tylin, you folks hired 19 immigrants in the last year. And can you talk to us a little bit about how that's impacted the organization?
Yeah, I think we all know that having diverse backgrounds really brings it creates a more innovative environment. And I think the benefit for our company, we are a software development company. So having a diverse software development team allows us to have differing backgrounds working together. But I think we've benefited in more ways than just in the work we do, but also in the interactions we have with employees. I know we do coffee break with peers at a set frequency. And so these are about a group of 10 employees from various departments, various levels of the organization. We also have coffee break with Peter Oblinas, our CEO. So this allows a really diverse group of individuals to get together, to interact, and create those meaningful conversations. They're open conversations. So we've had conversations about hockey to internal processes, compliance even, to just learning about what different employees do. I've been able to learn what some employees do maybe over the summer, what they do over the holidays. And I think interactions like that have really benefit our organization. Honestly, I think it, as cliche as it sounds, it's our differences that have brought us together. So it's not really cliche because I think it is true. It makes us the team that we are. So I think that's the greatest impact, is having all of us together on the team and seeing what we've been able to accomplish over the last year.
Thanks, Thailand. Just opening it up to the panel at this stage. If there's anything that you wanted to add around sort of what you're doing to develop your newcomer employees, anything that you haven't touched on already, you know, a particular training or learning opportunities, development opportunities, anything that any of you wanted to add about that.
I can add. So already mentioned a few times the belonging to the workplace. So I feel like it's very important. And for me personally, not anymore. But when I first joined Welch, just over 10 years ago, my personal story was that, and Welch knows it, is that I joined Welch after I graduated from the university. After I became a CPA, I left Welch because I didn't have that sense of belonging. Work is work. Work was great. But then, you know, over the time, as I said, I'm so proud of, you know, all the positive changes that Welch has made in the last 10 years to make our workplace more inclusive and diverse. So what I've been trying to do with my immigrants colleagues is that every time I have presentation opportunities or deliver any diversity inclusion related training opportunities, as much as I can, depending on everyone's availability, I tag on my colleague so that they feel like, you know, they're taking a proud position at the organization. They're proud, you know, to talk about their profile as immigrants working for Welch. So it's that the opportunities and the connectiveness with the employer, like in addition to on top of the work in itself. So that helps them to have a sense of, you know, belonging, right, to the workplace and to the community. And in addition to the work, because I'm sitting on different boards, and I'm so glad to see Frank here, because Frank and I used to be on the Dragon Boat Festival board. And I was telling, you know, this whole Dragon Boat Festival events, being on the boat and volunteering opportunities to my immigrants colleagues, my immigrants friends in the community. It's really to have them know that our community is amazing. You know, there were lots of things to do. So it's really to help immigrants, colleagues, newcomers to build their life here, to build their community here. So that's going to, you know, I think it's going to help to strengthen the work relationship between them and the employer.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for sharing that. I do have a question in the chat. And this is someone who's asking about, and you've referred to referral programs in your organization. So the question is, how formal or informal are those programs? How are those programs operating? And feel free, any of you, to sort of leap in and talk a little bit about your referral programs.
Yeah, I can start with ours. So at DistillerSR, it's formal in the sense that we do have a procedure for the referral program. But I think for us, like, it's really about reminding employees that this exists. It's always fun to see when we put a reminder on Slack and we get, like, honestly, like 5 to 10 referrals like within a few days. People get excited and they send us their recommendations for candidates. I guess for us, that's really worked is having an incentive. Employees love to refer their peers, but having an incentive for them to refer them, whether it be monetary or something else, any sort of bonus, that really does help. But I think it really does come down to showing the value of the program. So ensuring that employees know that when they refer somebody, we explore this candidate. We don't just say, yep, thank you, and then close the resume. I think it's about really exploring that because our employees, again, we value them, so we want to explore those referrals. So I think, yeah, having an incentive, considering those referrals, and then from there, it's also about following up with the employee that made the referral. Even if we don't, whether we proceed or not, we should be following up with our employee that made the referral because, again, we value them, so we don't just want to leave them hanging. We don't have to go into specifics why they weren't selected maybe, but just being able to connect with them again.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Thailand. And Jessica or Jahan?
Yeah, I echoed what Eileen mentioned. Similarly to Distiller, we also have a formal in a sense that we also have a procedure and incentive. But I think most important part about referral is when you have your employees, team members refer folks, it shows that, you know, it is they are proud to be part of your company. And when they refer, these are the people in their network, you know, they wouldn't refer folks in their network if they don't feel as strongly that the company is an awesome place to work. So for us, that's the message that we get when we get referrals from our team members. It gives us that assurance that, yeah, Giatec is an awesome place to work. So similarly, like Tylene, we have a procedure, we have an incentive going back to the employees with status of their referred candidates, as well as we try as much as possible to at least have a chat with all the candidates that they refer.
Thanks, Jahan. And Jessica, did you have anything you wanted to add around referrals?
Yeah, quick addition to what Johan and Tallinn already said. So basically, we have two forms. One is like ongoing. There is always a need, for bilingual English, French, bilingual accountants. So I know that's the ongoing source. And the fact that I teach this program and I meet a new batch of internationally trained accounting finance professionals every quarter. So that is like the ongoing referral source. So the message I'm trying to get, to the attendees in this group is that the referral is going, if the employee is becoming more active in our community, have good, strong work relationship, right, with NPOs like Ohio, like the Water Skills, like the Giatec. So we are making our names known. So when those organizations have the proper candidates, they will send it to our way as well. So dependent on our existing employees is a very key source, but also if as employers we're becoming more involved in the immigrants community, so that's going to open more doors for the employer as well.
Thank you, Jessica. You've all talked about one way or another the importance of your brand as an organization and being attractive to new talent. And I'm wondering if you had any thoughts about actually winning this Employer Excellence Award and how that may impact on brand and attractiveness or other benefits you might find from it. And I've just opened the floor to any of you who want to add to that.
Yeah, sure. Kelly, I go first. I echoed what my colleague Danny mentioned earlier when she accepted this excellent award, right? Winning it 3 years in a row, it's not at all making us complacent or thinking that, oh, we're there already. It fuels our passion to be better, to improve and to actually be the preferred employer. So for sure, yeah, it's a big deal for us.
Thanks, Shahan. Anyone else on the panel want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's bit similar to, oh, sorry, Jessica.
Go for it.
Similar to what Danny said at the beginning, being recognized for this award shouldn't stop us or allow us to pause, but if anything, I know it's going to give us momentum to continue putting our best foot forward, to really review what we're currently doing, but also how we can put our best foot forward. And I know winning this award, I've thought about this in the last week, and I think if anything, it puts employees' eyes on us. So I think that's even more motivation to continue doing our best. And, you know, really, obviously, we want our brand, and we're happy with this award, but I think it means much more, and it kind of should propel us forward.
Thanks, Thailand. Jessica, anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, so when I was in the office last week, and in our photo to accept the award, we had our managing partner, Jim McConnery, on one side, and we have Chris Myers. He's also a partner, and he actually was the manager who hired me joining Welch over 10 years ago. So both partners said that we're going to put this important award in a place that everybody can see it. And echoing Talim's message, if anything, this is just the beginning of our journey, and there's going to be more staff members, clients, or community partners going to hold us accountable, right, to continue to improve and to strengthen our progress working with immigrants and to hire immigrants. So we follow the highest message to keep it confidential until after this ceremony. So I'm pretty sure, you know, we're going to put it in a good place, and our marketing specialist is on the call, and she's going to do the news release for Welch.
Thank you, Jessica. And we're getting ready to sort of wrap up, but I did want, for, you know, you've been on this journey now for some time, some of you, and you've been really quite intentional around what you're doing in terms of recruiting and hiring. And, you know, increasingly important, of course, is retention and advancement of immigrants in your organizations. And I'm wondering if there's anything in particular you would like other employers to know about the recruitment and retention of immigrant employees. And maybe, Jessica, I'll start with you and then go across the panel.
Right. So Kelly mentioned the two categories. One is recruitment, one is retention. In my view, retention is even more challenging than recruitment, because with the population, with the shortage of labor, skilled workers, recruitment becomes a necessity. You have to, you know, at some point hire immigrants to fulfill the positions, but it's the retention piece. Because I've been interacting with immigrants for over 10 years. And
Jessica,
having a Canadian experience.
Keep going. You'd frozen there for me for a moment, but now I've got you back.
Sorry. I'll move around. So they will continue to move on their journey. I will be sad, you know, for Welch and for any employers to see a skilled immigrants coming to our workplace, but then 6 months from now, a year from now, they left the organization. So really finding the fit, the position versus, you know, the candidate, the right fit for the organization as well as for the immigrants, finding the right fit. And as I mentioned, trying to help them to build a sense of belonging at the workplace. So the retention becomes very important, because some of the immigrants, they're highly skilled. I don't want to say anything, you know, not so great about some immigrants, but I've seen immigrants' friends, they change job, like 3 jobs in a year, because they're highly in demand, their skills are highly in demand. But it's important for employer to have the retention practices to find the right fit between their experience and the job, to keep the talent within your organization.
Thank you, Jessica. Kailin.
Yeah, I think in terms of recruitment, it really is about finding the fit for them on the team. I know in the past year we've hired for, I believe it was a software developer, but we actually they filled a role for a quality control engineer. And I think that, again, echoes what Jessica said, finding fit, not just fulfilling a headcount. So that's the recruitment piece. And then I believe for retention, it really comes down to how we support newcomers and employees pre-onboarding, not just from their first day, but even during the interview process, and then during their probationary period, but then also during the year, throughout performance reviews, throughout your meetings, how we connect with our employees. And that also includes how we socialize employees together. So that could be events, but also how we communicate with them via email or Slack. And there's creative ways we can bring employees together to have them feel included and as though they belong on a team. Again, we have differences, but coming together, we can learn. And I always like to highlight one of my favorite initiatives that we've done for over 2 years is our Diversity Days Slack channel. And I've learned so much through that channel because it allows various employees to post about holidays that they celebrate. And while I might not celebrate that day, I'm able to learn about that holiday. And so it brings awareness, but also educates us at the same time.
Very important. Okay, recording in progress. I'll start again. So one of the things that I didn't quite touch for our recruitment strategy is our co-op program. It's a very important talent source for us. We continue to have strong co-ops who becoming a co-op and then wanting to be part of Giatec again in different co-op programs, and also the conversion from co-op to full-time. I'm so happy to say that my partner in crime and colleague Danny is one of those excellent example. She started with Giatec as a co-op, and then now she's with me running our HR department and teams and doing an excellent job at that too. Other than that, I think also very important, that job shadow component when it comes to recruitment. I mentioned we started off doing this with sales team. Now we are duplicating that on with other teams as well, because we also went for in-person interview. We also provide an office tour to potential candidates. And this is important, right, Kelly, because it gives a different perspective. It's a welcoming culture, and they feel like it's not really an alien if they do go all the way and become part of the company. And they look at, oh yeah, the pantry is pretty cool. Oh yeah, the workplace is pretty cool. So I think with this super competitive job market, it's not just a matter of, you never really see the actual company. You just come on your first day. That's when you find out. It's more of us giving them a glimpse of what it can be like at Giatec. So that's on the recruitment front. On the retention bit, echoed both Tylene and Jessica's points earlier. Onboarding program, we continue to enhance that because first impression counts. There's also the whole bit about the pre-onboarding as well, and I think we try to reach that or come to a good combination. But also other things, right? Like when they come in, we have a very structured onboarding program. You're not being like a clueless on your first day. They meet Danny, and then you talk about everything about Giatec, and then they meet the team, and it's a seamless process. But also a month we have a touch point with HR to see how are you, what's going on, are you finding it great here? And sometimes, and we always tell people, you don't have to wait for that 30 days touch point. You can always just reach out to HR or whoever that you're comfortable with to just talk if there's something, right? And also again, at social event, Tylene spoke about that Slack channel, the diversity channel, but for us, we go on things that everybody knows, which is food, right? So some social events that we do, like a potluck. Earlier this year, we did a potluck celebrating, I know, Eid. After the end of Ramadan, there was, I think there was 2 other celebrations. I don't remember now, but it gives us an opportunity to bring a dish from our home, right? And share, and that's like a beautiful conversation piece, and everybody had great food. And I think some of us can actually apply for MasterChef Canada. So yeah, pretty much.
You're making me hungry, Jahan. Thank you so much for this. And we are winding up. If any other questions come up in the chat, now is your time. But I did, you know what, I'm struck by phrases like first impressions are so important, and how this whole lens has been shifted over the past few years. Back in the day, we would talk about things like first impressions are so important when we were talking about the job seeker making that first impression, right? And the shift that we're seeing in terms of it's the organization now that has to take care to have a really good first impression, both through the interview process, but also that onboarding process. So it's a real shift, which I think is fascinating. I appreciated that sort of all of you in one way or another talked about this kind of positive feedback loop. The better we are at creating a sense of belonging for our employees, the more attractive we become to other employees one way or another, right? Is it going to be through referrals? Is it through our brand, etc.? So that again, the more diverse talent we're able to bring in, the better we're able to leverage them, the better we're able to attract further talent. So it all feeds in together. Always those benefits in terms of, you know, both innovation in our own organizations, but access to new markets, being better able to serve our diverse clients. Really appreciated all of you sort of touching on that. And we heard over and over and over again that fostering that sense of belonging in organizations is key to the success of this sort of work. I really want to take an opportunity to thank all of you for sharing and sharing so openly the things that are going on in your organization, some of the journeys that you've been on in terms of getting better at this, and knowing that you will continue to need to be intentional about this. All of our workplaces will. So we've learned a lot from you today. I want to extend again, before I toss this back to Henry, my congratulations. This is really, really wonderful to be with you celebrating today. And I really enjoyed spending time with you on the